Hello and welcome to a new series I'm starting on playing in the Lucids tournament this year, and I've been recording my game as Mekone, so let's go for early turns 1 to 5. So here, first turn, obviously not much to do except rename the prophet and just hire some dudes, but yeah, here I'm going to be dropping information as the game goes along, not the usual pretender analyzing and all that stuff that people usually do on first turn, but instead just going on and then introducing stuff as it becomes relevant. So here is the expansion party, so I'm just expanding on the original army of Helots here in the capital, and also checking who's available for hire, but I don't have money for mercenaries, so it's just expanding the original army to take independent provinces. And the plan is to use Helots for the first two parties perhaps, and then switch over to gigantes, because the Helots are actually pretty good in expansion. You can get about 5 of them for the cost of 1 gigant, and then they also cost quite a lot of resources, but that's something you don't actually lack as much early on. So here is my big red who is going to become my prophet. So not going into the details at the moment, but my bless is quite light actually. I have a dormant great archon. So yeah, that was turn 1. And then turn number 2, well, skipping straight into checking out the prophet names. So yeah, I think Tarek here is playing Pangaea, so he has quite a funny one as a pan. I didn't do all the analysis on the names that the prophets gods have, but yeah. And then there's the mandatory Black Company reference, and then Niflheim has, at least they have renamed their prophet, and their god is also quite funny. Lang, I'm not sure if that's a rename, but yeah, Yomi also has a good sense of humor, it seems. Holy, also me. So my pretender team is basically Among Us. No, nothing too fancy here. But yeah, this is the second turn. What I have surrounding me is basically militia, light infantry or tribes, and then 1 province of Jade Amazons, who are actually quite interesting. But it's a quite kind of tough province early on, so I'm just going to pump out some more Helot Egdromos. These are the lighter armored Helots, and you can get about 2 for 1 of them instead of the heavier Helot bigger spearmen. Yeah. So thinking about where to go with the first army, so setting them up like in 3 waves, and my prophet is also just giving them some morale and then attacking himself, because that's safer, I think, for him than spamming smite and then being too tired because he has heavy armor. Yeah, and I also forgot to mention at this point my bless is only inspirational leadership and some small reinvigoration of 2, and my god is going to wake up in a year. He's a dormant great archon, who I'm going to go into more detail later, but he's going to add a little twist to the bless. So here, just looking out my scales, my Dominion candles went out nicely, so I get some free intel and decide to take the province with the most resources, so I can pump out more troops during expansion. I think that was the logic behind it, and just slower hoplites. Hoplites are the other ones. The slower, heavier armored hoplites go first, and then the Ekdromos come in behind and fill the holes. That's basically the plan here. And then also we have some javelin throwers in the back, and straight into turn 3. So let's see how it goes. So I was attacking into province that had mainly archers, which are not that threatening to me, because my stuff is in line formation and also armored. And of course there's one less good reason to use melee attack for my prophet, and that's it, because I want to get him into the Hall of Fame, and killing units in melee gets you much more XP and also gets you faster into the Hall of Fame. So that's also something I just want to do. So very good expansion start, only lost one heal out there. That went very well, and just recruiting basic 6, first 1 point and then later on 6 points. Province defense there, that's going to turn out to be actually quite good. And recruiting, I'm thinking that next party is ready now, so there's 2 turns worth of heal out Ekdromos and 1 pole march to lead them, because the Bless has leadership and the pole marches are also slave drivers, so they get the heal out slaves get actually like decent 13-14 points of morale when led by pole marches. So that's the early expansion plan. Plan B, second group coming up, and just clearing out my cap ring here. Also looking at this province, and what's to think about these heavy infantry slinger provinces is that they sometimes have elephants, who would be really bad news for me, but so I don't want to go in there unless I get to scout it or don't see elephants for several turns. So I'm just going to keep on swinging down, getting more capital ring provinces to increase my production. And looking around, still nothing unusual. So the map is a map nuke, so it's in a grid, and you can sort of guess where the other players are because of that. And I can see I'm in a place where east of me there's a lake and there's one underwater player, so I know Oceania is going to be east of me. And there's also pirates who I can't afford. And then turn 4, and we have actually 2 fights. The second one is an event fight, but yeah, Red keeps on going with his elite slave army. Just mowing through the independents, nothing to see here. And then a giant attacks me. So it turned out quite fortunate that I bought 6 points of PD in there, because we immediately got attacked by an uncivilized giant. But lucky for us, small humans with pointy sticks is quite enough to make him bleed, and then soon he should be running away. And the little humans can't catch him, but yeah, he stopped bleeding, but he's almost dead. And there you go. So province defense wins out this time. Mr. Hill Giant Boy. So, and here we see it opens up the second party is ready, and also the first party is now seeing that there are some monkeys in the forest, and the monkeys are really easy province for me. So red is heading out that way, and yellow is taking out my second expansion party and going in the other direction to again flow out from the capital. And there's just militia and heavy infantry, so no archers, so it's slightly harder than archer provinces, but still quite easy for my dudes when they outnumber. And I'm also switching over to giants at this point, because I figured these two parties can clear out my capital no problem. I have almost everything but the Jade Amazons secured, and here I see my starting scout was just going to go in one direction, and I see my first neighbor, and it's Yomi. So it's not a, for me it's not a very threatening nation for several reasons. I can go on later, but I'm going to just check out if I catch him expanding. And then turn number 5. So here again, red is going out against the Atavi monkeys, and it looks a little threatening because of all the missiles and javelins and rocks being thrown, but it's so much of it is slow damage stuff that anything with armor is going to shrug it off most of the time. And the monkeys also have poor morale, so that's rout very fast. And this is the easy independent province for me. And here's the second party led by yellow. So he has a little bit more melee focused enemy. Here you can see their morale was 13 even though they're slaves. So that was part of the point of the bless, was to buff up the unit morale as much as possible so I can use slave troops for expanding. And even later on when there are morale effects in play, it helps. So here my scout actually sees something interesting. So it's a die Oni, his first die Oni, and it's full resistances, regeneration, blood vengeance and chill aura. So quite literally a full helpless all in on the die Onis. So they're resistant to most things and also have this annoying effects like they cause fatigue damage and also blood vengeance, although for expansion blood vengeance is pretty minimal because I'm skipping ahead bit. This was a boring fight, so skipping ahead where all the independents lived happily ever after and didn't run away from the nasty demon with the helpless. So and here you can see my early research. So first goal was construction and then alteration and conjuration. So this is your basic tugging kit, especially now that I can see one of my neighbors. So there is an extra special reason to go for construction 2 right away. And I've also randomed some fire 2 E4s who are going to be crucial in that. But now you can see there's a mercenary mage. Again, I have no money, but I'm keeping the wheel spinning, taking last of the provinces. For some reason I just left the Amazons for last, although they are quite literally a priority, especially for my nation. They are very good troops. But I figured they are in my capital ring, so nobody is going to be foolish enough to take them before I can use my third party to grab the province. So here we are, just looking at, I'm going to start swinging east again with both expansion parties, and my capital is still pumping out more gigant hoplites for the first giant expansion party, who can then take over stuff like the Jade Amazons, and heavier provinces like barbarians are much easier for me. Also here I can see that Yomi has not had a very fast start, so he had to use 2 turns to recruit a die Oni, and now the die Oni is getting out. And possibly, depending on his scales, he couldn't have built one on the first turn because he might have been too low on the resources. So that's the first video, and I hope to see you again later with more giant heroics.